I think it's only fair that we start this conversation with a question. What is Elune? Who is Elune? You see, that is a question that has just simply never been answered. It's a question that no matter how long and no matter how much we learn about the Night Elves, about their history, about where they came from, how they came to be, nothing ever answers the question, what is Elune? Neither does Ardenweald, for that matter. While Ardenweald has a lot to do with the Night Warriors and with Elune, the question, the answer to the question, what or who is Elune, is never actually answered. And I find in that one of the most interesting things out there. Now, before we can get into this video, before we can discuss what Tyranda's role and future in this expansion will be, I do have to mention that back in the day when Chris Metzen was still working for World of Warcraft, or for Blizzard, working on World of Warcraft and the lore in World of Warcraft, he was asked about Elune, and his answer, well, may actually leave people like myself pretty unsatisfied. He didn't want the answer to the question, who is Elune, what is Elune, to ever be answered. He kind of liked the idea of this being that no one knows anything about, this being that is everywhere and seemingly nowhere. He wanted that answer to remain, or that question to remain unanswered. You see, the problem with what is the future of Tyranda really is tangled up in who is Elune. Without the one, we can't really discover the other. But perhaps there is a way to work around that. Perhaps there is a way to sort of figure out what the future of Tyranda will be based on what little information we have within the Shadowlands. Ladies and gentlemen, strap in for a journey of the Night Warrior. Sup, up, ladies and gentlemen, Akulon here, and welcome back to each and every one of you. And of course, if you are new to the channel, thank you so much for joining us. I am very happy to have you here. In today's video, of course, we are discussing Tyranda, the Night Warrior. What is she? Who is she? And where exactly is her story about to take us? Well, in order to understand what Tyranda is, that's sort of been told to us, right? We know that she is the Night Warrior. We know that that is the vengeance of Elune. It is the dark side of Elune. And we've speculated on the channel multiple times about Elune. And we sort of ended on the idea that Elune is balanced. She is day and night. She is the moon. The moon is the perfect example of a balancing act between the light and the darkness, because the moon requires the sun in order to provide light in the darkness. So that's sort of where we landed on when it came to Elune. But there was something far more sinister and far more, I guess, dark, you could say, about Elune and about the Night Warrior in general. The earliest mentions we have of the Night Warrior and that specific ritual, of course, comes from Azshara. Azshara tells us all the way back in Battle for Azeroth that Tyranda invoked the ancient ritual, the forbidden ritual. So this ritual, why was it forbidden? And by who? Was this simply Azshara who forbade it, saying, nope, you're not allowed to do this? Could this have been due to power? Maybe Azshara didn't want someone that could equal her in power. Well, I don't think that is the case, because as far as I'm concerned, the Night Elves and the High Elves, of which Azshara would have been one, while technically, yes, still elves, and technically, yes, Azshara was queen of all of the elves at that time, it does appear as if Elune was an extremely separate entity. It was the Night Elves that worshipped Elune. The High Elves, not so much. They didn't appear to have the same kind of interest in the worship of Elune. So this almost definitely is a forbidden ritual within Night Elven culture. Why? That is the big question. Why is this ritual forbidden? What could possibly go wrong? I mean, if your world is under attack, and we know this thanks to Ardenweald, in Ardenweald you meet some of the other Night Warriors from other worlds. And almost every single time, it is when the world is in danger, when the world is in danger of being overrun, of being destroyed. In one of these worlds, it is actually old gods who end up destroying the world. And it is one of the followers of Elune who invokes this ancient ritual and tries to put an end to it. The problem is, according to at least this Night Warrior, they didn't really succeed in doing so because it did claim their own lives. So that is one thing we can sort of narrow down right from the start. The power of the Night Warrior is very limited. It is a power that is granted to the user for a limited amount of time before that power claims the user itself. And we can already see that. For those of you that have played through the Ardenweald campaign, you very quickly realize that Tyrande is in a bad spot. A very bad spot. Jaina mentioned this already in the intro scenario for the Maw, where we meet Jaina and Thrall and all of them for the very first time inside the Maw. Jaina says a dark power has taken hold of Tyrande, and I fear that there will be nothing left of Tyrande very soon. So we know that this is an all-consuming power. But there's something very interesting about this power. The Night Warriors we meet in Ardenweald do not like Elune. Not even a bit. In fact, I would go so far as to say, I think they sort of hate her. Why? Why this hatred? I mean, these were the ultimate followers of Elune. Elune does not just bestow her power on anyone. You have to be a devout follower. You have to believe with all your heart, and even then, most of the time, Elune does not grant you this power. We know, thanks to historical text in World of Warcraft, that many have tried before to invoke the power of Elune, and all of them have died. This ritual kills more people than it actually saves. And yet those who succeeded, those who actually did have the necessary faith to be converted into the Night Warrior, they do not like her. And I fear Elune, or I fear Tyrande, is sort of on the same path here. You see, Tyrande has two things that she wants to do whilst in the Shadowlands. The first everyone sort of knows about. She wants the Banshee Queen to pay for what she had done at Teldrassil. And for good reason. Sylvanas marched with the Horde to the shores of Darkshore, and it destroyed the home of the Night Owls, burning thousands alive. And for those of you, by the way, who think that Elune helped them, she didn't. She didn't. According to the lore, Elune simply put them to sleep, but they could still feel the pain. If you go into the Maw and you stand inside the river Gargua, the River of Souls, you actually see some of the Night Elf souls coming past. They feel the pain. They can feel themselves burning. So Elune did not save them. Elune didn't put their pain out from, or didn't take their pain away. They felt the pain, they simply fell asleep. One could argue this is almost more evil than just letting them die. But that's the second reason Tyrande is in the Shadowlands. She wants to find out why Elune abandoned her people. So all of those Night Elves who think Elune helped us, Elune didn't. Even Tyrande knows this. Tyrande herself states this. I am here for two things. The Banshee Queen will pay, and I must find out why Elune abandoned her people. Now I can't help but wonder why. Surely you have someone like the jailer that seemingly thinks about everything. He seems to really plan ahead. He's been doing this for quite some time. We know that he's been at this for untold millennia. So he does appear to be quite strategic. Why did he direct Sylvanas Windrunner to burn down the tree, knowing full well that Tyrande could invoke the power of the first one, the power of Elune? Now, the power of the first one, that is a bit of a slip-up on my part, because I don't actually know if Elune is a first one. Personally, I would prefer if she isn't. quite frankly, I would prefer if the first ones are things we've never heard about. I would prefer if Elune is just another Eternal one that made a different choice, although it does appear as if her power... By the way, Tyrande doesn't struggle with any of the creatures in the maw. She leaves bodies in her wake by the thousands. She literally appears to not have any issues killing creatures in the maw. So her power seems to almost be limitless. So it might very well be that Elune is a first one. Again, we don't know much about Elune, but it could be that she is a first one. Of course, we do have the whispers from Xal'atath contained with there, where Xal'atath sort of calls her an upstart goddess. Not really much to be concerned with, but we've already discussed this in the past. The Void doesn't appear to give a shit about anyone. They do think that almost all of the gods, almost all of the titans, are rather insignificant, and that the Void really is the only power that matters, and if the titans are correct, the Void wouldn't be wrong. Remember, the Void was seemingly first. It was the light and the Void in the first place that started the universe. So maybe the Void really doesn't give a shit. Maybe the Void really just views a first one like Elune as insignificant, an upstart goddess, someone who really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But with Tyrande, there is something else. You see, I do believe that Tyrande will survive this. This is, of course, something that a lot of people are starting to worry about. Will Tyrande actually survive the Shadowlands? Is there a way for Tyrande to come out of this alive? Yes, there is. We know that Chandras is trying to round up all of the Night Warriors, the previous Night Warriors. And they're going to try and split the power of Tyrande. Split it evenly amongst all of them, so that all of them can become empowered with the power of the Night Warrior, and therefore, hopefully, it won't kill all of them. I don't know if that can happen, because it is my view that the power of Elune will grow without end, regardless of how many times you try and split it. At least, that's what I get when you go to Ardenweald. In Ardenweald, for those of you that don't know, there is an example of such a creature, a husband and husband who tried to split the power between them, and it ended up killing both of them. And it didn't appear to slow it down either. The second they split it, they died in very quick succession of one another. So the power doesn't appear to want to be contained. Maybe this is inherently the part of Elune, because she is so obsessed with balance. A creature like the Night Warrior simply cannot survive within the world, because that creature would be a problem in the overall balance of the universe. So you may be asking, but Akalon, where's the speculation on all of this? Up until now, you've just been giving us things that most of us already know. Good question. What will happen to Tyrande? Why did the jailer order Sylvanas to destroy the tree? I think the jailer wants Tyrande. More importantly, I wonder if it's not Sylvanas that wants Tyrande. We've spoken about this. If you look at what Sylvanas is doing with Anduin right now, and if you look at the goal that Sylvanas has for herself, she wants to destroy a system that she views as corrupt and that she views as immoral. She believes truly that she is fighting on the side of justice. Sylvanas spent the entirety of BFA strengthening the Horde and the Alliance by creating allies and including more and more powerful enemies within the ranks of the Horde and the Alliance. Now, one could say that the Horde and the Alliance is both fairly depleted thanks to the war, but in the end, they would still become stronger because of the allies that they had made. Sylvanas then proceeds to activate the Night Warrior. Now, we could argue that this is by accident. Sylvanas didn't know that Tyrande would become the Night Warrior, but that would be foolish. Sylvanas surely had knowledge of the Night Warrior, and we know that Sylvanas and Azshara worked together for a time. We know that they worked together for a time. So surely Sylvanas would have had some inclination to think that if she backed Tyrande into a corner, Tyrande would ultimately activate the power of Elune. Remember, Sylvanas' main goal was to kill Malfurion. Why? She didn't end up killing him, but what she did was enough for Tyrande to activate the power of the Night Warrior. Now, of course, it could be that the jailer simply wants Tyrande as the Night Warrior to make her into a blade, into a weapon that he can wield. We would have to argue whose power is stronger, that of Elune or that of the jailer. I don't know. I physically have no idea. But what if, and this is what gets me excited, what if in fact it was Sylvanas who created the Night Warrior, who needed the Night Warrior? What if the plan for Sylvanas is to turn Anduin, and we've already discussed this at length, Anduin has an impression on her as well. Anduin is going to change her mind as well. But what if all of this power is meant to create the weapons that will cause the downfall of the system? The only thing Sylvanas has to do now is convince Anduin to join her, and I believe that Anduin is going to convince her to betray the jailer, and then show Tyrande that Elune never truly cared, that her faith in Elune was almost always completely wasted. And then we, the players, the mortals of Azeroth, will truly become the killers of gods. That is what I want. That is the game that I want to play. And I'm interested to hear what you think of this entire speculation theory. Do you think there's a possibility that that could end up happening? Remember, enemies can ultimately work together when the enemy of my enemy becomes my friend. So there is a possibility for these two creatures, the Banshee Queen and the Night Warrior, to ultimately team up to destroy the gods of our universe. And if my speculation theory is correct, then they would all be heroes of Azeroth. Azeroth herself being imprisoned by order. Azeroth being life. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I do have videos coming out very soon that explains all of that in detail. But Azeroth herself was made a prison. All of these pawns, these pieces on the chessboard, I believe will come together to free us and Azeroth from the shackles of order. But of course, this channel is not just about my opinion, it is primarily about yours. So use that comment section to tell me what you think about this theory. Do you agree, disagree? Maybe you have a different theory that you would want to share. I read every single comment on the channel. I love getting to see what you guys think about it. So let me know in the comment section down below. Please remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Don't smash the bell because it is annoying to get push notifications all the time whenever people upload. Just come back every single day to check if there's a new upload or not. Otherwise, come back whenever you're in the mood for the lore. To all of the patrons, the Twitch subs, and of course the YouTube channel members, thank you so much for your monthly contributions. It does mean the world to me. Thanks to you guys, this channel is still growing, and it's growing stronger every single day. I quite literally wouldn't be here without you, so I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Guys, always my name is Aquilon, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out, fam!